Some stories feel like a half-remembered dream, a flash of light, a moment of brilliance on a screen, and then they're gone. We're left with a faint image, a feeling, and the quiet nagging questions of whatever happened to. It's a common tale in the world of entertainment, especially for child actors who burn brightly for a season, only to fade from the public eye. We often assume they simply chose a different path, grew up, and moved on. But sometimes the reason for the silence is far more sudden and infinitely more heartbreaking. Today we're going to talk about a story that many of you might not even realize has a final tragic chapter. It's the story of a girl with a golden arm and a spirit to match. A girl who, for one summer, became the face of raw talent and underdog triumph on the big screen. Her name was Sammi Kane Kraft. If you saw the 2005 remake of The Bad News Bears, you knew her as Amanda Wurlitzer, the fireballing pitcher who could humble any batter who dared step up to the plate. Her performance was so real, so authentic, you'd swear she'd been playing baseball her whole life. And the truth is, she had. This wasn't just a role she played, it was who she was. But the Hollywood dream was just a brief stop on a journey that was cut brutally short, leaving behind a legacy, not of fame, but of love, loss, and a gift that would echo long after she was gone. This is the story of the life Sammi Kane Kraft lived and the lives she changed after it was taken away. To understand Sammy's brief but brilliant flash across our screens, we have to go back to the mid-2000s. It was a peculiar time in Hollywood. The industry was deep in the throes of a remake fever. Classic films and television shows from the 70s and 80s were being dusted off and retooled for a new generation. It was a strategy built on nostalgia, a bet that familiar titles would bring audiences to the theater. In 2005, it was the turn of a beloved, scrappy classic from 1976, The Bad News Bears. The original film was a cultural phenomenon. It was gritty, foul-mouthed, and hilarious, a story about a team of hopeless misfit kids and their beer-guzzling coach that captured the cynical spirit of the 70s perfectly. Remaking such a cherished film was a risky proposition. You needed to capture the same rebellious energy while updating it for a new era. The project fell into the hands of acclaimed independent director Richard Linklater, a filmmaker known for his authentic, character-driven stories. For the role of the washed-up Coach Morris Buttermaker, they cast Billy Bob Thornton, an actor who could perfectly embody the character's mix of sleaze and hidden heart. But the most crucial piece of casting, the linchpin of the entire team, was the role of Amanda Wurlitzer. In the original, she was played by Tatum O'Neal, who became the youngest person to ever win a competitive Academy Award for her role in Paper Moon just a few years prior. Amanda was the team's secret weapon, a girl who could pitch better than any of the boys, the daughter of one of the coach's ex-girlfriends. She was the soul of the team's transformation from hopeless losers to unlikely contenders. Finding the right Amanda for the 21st century was everything. The casting directors could have looked for a seasoned child actress, someone with a long resume of commercials and television spots. But Linklater, in his pursuit of authenticity, was looking for something more. He wasn't just looking for a girl who could act like a pitcher. He was looking for a pitcher. And that's where fate and a baseball field in Southern California stepped in. Sammi Kane Kraft was born on April 2nd, 1992, in Livingston, New Jersey. Her family later moved to the sprawling suburbs of Los Angeles, a place where childhood dreams, both athletic and artistic, had room to grow. From a very young age, it was clear that Sammi was a gifted athlete. While other kids were playing with dolls or video games, Sammi was on the diamond. She fell in love with baseball, a sport dominated by boys, and she didn't just play, she excelled. She wasn't just good for a girl, she was phenomenal period. She joined a boys' league and quickly became a force to be reckoned with. Her specialty was pitching, and her talent was nothing short of prodigious. By the age of just 11, she had developed a blistering fastball that was clocked at 70 miles per hour. Let that sink in. A preteen girl throwing with the kind of velocity that many high school and even college players would be proud of. She also had a curveball that buckled the knees of her opponents. She was a phenom, a local legend in the making. Acting was not on her radar. Her world was one of chalk lines, leather gloves, and the satisfying thwack of a baseball hitting the catcher's mitt. But one day, while she was doing what she did best, playing baseball, her life took an unexpected turn. A casting agent for the Bad News Bears remake was scouting local leagues, searching for kids with genuine athletic talent. When they saw Sammi play, they knew they had found something special. Here was a girl who embodied the spirit of Amanda Wurlitzer without even trying. She had the skill, the confidence, the natural swagger of a star athlete. She was invited to audition, a process that was entirely new to her. She wasn't a polished performer from a stage school. She was a kid from the suburbs who just happened to be an incredible baseball player. And that was precisely what made her perfect. Richard Linklater saw in her a raw, unvarnished authenticity that couldn't be taught. After a series of auditions, against all odds, the unknown baseball player from Los Angeles won the coveted role. At the age of 12, Sammi Kane Kraft was going to be a movie star. Filming The Bad News Bears was a whirlwind experience for Sammi. She was suddenly on a major movie set, working alongside a celebrated director and a Hollywood star like Billy Bob Thornton. She was surrounded by other kids, many of whom were also chosen for their athletic abilities rather than their acting experience. This created a unique summer camp-like atmosphere on set. For Sammi, the most natural part of the experience was the baseball. The scenes on the field were her element. She performed her own pitching, lending an incredible realism to the movie's action sequences. Her powerful, fluid motion wasn't a special effect. It was the result of years of dedication and natural talent. When the film was released in the summer of 2005, Sammi's performance was widely praised. Critics and audiences were captivated by her. She was a natural on screen, effortlessly holding her own against seasoned professionals. She had a charisma that was both tough and vulnerable. She perfectly captured the essence of Amanda, a girl who puts up a tough exterior to hide the fact that she's still a kid, navigating the complexities of friendship and family. The movie was a modest box office success, and for a moment, it seemed like Sammi Kane Kraft was poised for a major Hollywood career. She had the talent, the look, and the unique backstory that made her stand out. Offers and opportunities were surely on the horizon, but Sammi chose a different path. The bright lights of Hollywood, it seemed, were not as alluring to her as the comfort of a normal life. After the whirlwind of filming and promotion for The Bad News Bears, she did something remarkable for a child in her position. She stepped back. She returned to her life as a regular teenager in Los Angeles. She went to high school. She hung out with her friends. She focused on her education. The Hollywood chapter for the time being was closed. It wasn't a dramatic exit. It was a quiet, conscious choice to prioritize her own growth and happiness over the pursuit of fame. As she grew from a teenager into a young woman, another passion began to take center stage in her life: music. Her creativity, once channeled through the precision of a fastball, now found expression in melodies and lyrics. She learned to play the guitar and began to write her own songs. Her music was a reflection of who she was: soulful, introspective, and full of emotion. She had a raw, powerful voice, and her songwriting demonstrated a wisdom and depth beyond her years. This passion for music became a powerful point of connection with her older brother, Frankie Kraft. The two siblings were incredibly close, sharing a deep bond of friendship and creative collaboration. Together, they began to work on a musical project, a stage play they called Funerals. The inspiration for the piece was deeply personal, the death of their beloved grandmother. The musical was a way for them to process their grief, to explore the complex emotions of loss, and to celebrate the life of the woman they had loved. It was a mature and ambitious undertaking for two young artists, a testament to their creative drive and their close relationship. Sammi poured her heart into the project, writing music and preparing to perform alongside her brother. She also started a folk pop band, a group of friends making music together, playing small gigs and honing their craft. One of her closest friends during this time was a young woman named Alana Haim, who, along with her sisters, would later form the internationally acclaimed band Haim. Sammi, Alana, and their circle of friends were a tight-knit group, navigating the exciting and uncertain years of early adulthood in Los Angeles, bound by their shared love of music and their dreams for the future. Sammi was studying at San Francisco State University, but she was deeply embedded in the creative community of her hometown. Her life was full of promise. She had already experienced a level of success that most people only dream of, but she had her feet firmly on the ground. She was surrounded by a loving family and a circle of devoted friends. She was creating art that was meaningful to her. The future seemed boundless, a canvas waiting for her to paint her masterpiece. But on the night of October 9th, 2012, that future was stolen in an instant. Sammi was a passenger in an Audi, driving on the westbound 10 freeway in Los Angeles. The details of what happened next are a chilling illustration of how quickly a normal night can turn into an unimaginable tragedy. The car driven by her friend Molly Kate Adams was traveling at high speed when it rear-ended a large semi-trailer truck. The initial impact was violent, but the horror wasn't over. The disabled Audi was then struck by another vehicle, a Toyota, from behind. The collision was catastrophic. Emergency services rushed to the scene. Sammi was critically injured. She was transported to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, one of the best hospitals in the country. Doctors fought to save her life, but her injuries were too severe. Later that day, surrounded by her heartbroken family, Sammi Kane Kraft was pronounced dead. She was just 20 years old. The news of her death was a devastating shock to everyone who knew her. It was a loss that felt senseless, cruel, and profoundly unfair. A life so full of talent, energy, and love had been extinguished in a moment of violence and chaos. Her family, her brother Frankie, her friends like Alana Haim, were plunged into a grief that was overwhelming. The girl with the golden arm, the soulful musician, the beloved daughter, sister, and friend, was gone. In the aftermath of such a sudden tragedy, the search for answers is inevitable. And in Sammi's case, the circumstances of the accident added another layer of pain to the family's grief. The driver of the car, Molly Kate Adams, was also injured in the crash. An investigation by the California Highway Patrol determined that she had been driving under the influence of alcohol. In 2013, she was charged with felony drunk driving and pleaded no contest. This is not a controversy in the typical Hollywood sense of scandal or debate. It is a far more somber and difficult subject. It's the tragic reality that Sammi's death was not just a random accident, but a preventable one. It was the result of a terrible decision that had the most devastating consequences imaginable. For Sammi's family, this knowledge was an almost unbearable burden to carry on top of their grief. There was no debate about what happened, only the quiet, agonizing reality of a life lost. and another life forever changed by a single fateful choice. The true measure of a life, however, is not found in the circumstances of its ending, but in the legacy it leaves behind. And Sammi Kane Kraft, even in death, left a legacy of profound love, hope, and life. In their darkest hour of grief, her family made a decision that would ensure her spirit would live on in the most tangible way possible. They chose to donate her organs. It was a decision made from a place of incredible generosity, a desire to bring hope out of their own despair. And so, a part of Sammi continued to live. Her heart, the very center of her being, was given to a woman named Yvonne Payne. Yvonne had been suffering from a debilitating heart condition, waiting and praying for a transplant that would save her life. In a moment that was a tragedy for one family, a miracle occurred for another. Yvonne received Sammy's heart, and with it, a second chance at life. The story of this incredible gift could have remained a private, anonymous chapter, but for Sammy's brother Frankie, it became a crucial part of his journey through grief. He was consumed by the loss of his sister, his collaborator, his best friend. The world felt empty without her, but the knowledge that her heart was still beating somewhere in the world gave him a flicker of hope. He became determined to find the woman who had received this precious gift. He wanted to meet her, to tell her about Sammi, and perhaps in some way to connect with his sister one last time. This journey became the subject of a powerful and moving documentary directed by Frankie himself titled Help Her Live. The film is an intimate and unflinching look at grief, family, and the extraordinary bond created by organ donation. It chronicles Frankie's emotional quest to find Yvonne Payne and the profound life-affirming meeting that eventually took place. In one of the film's most powerful moments, Frankie places a stethoscope on Yvonne's chest and hears his sister's heart beating. It's a sound of life, of continuity, of a legacy that transcends death itself. Sammy's story, through this act of generosity, became a powerful testament to the life-saving power of organ donation. It transformed a personal tragedy into a public message of hope. But the ripples of Sammy's life spread in other ways too. Her death left a gaping hole in the hearts of her friends, and for artists, grief often finds its voice through their work. Her close friend, Alana Haim, was on tour with her band when she received the news of Sammy's death. She was shattered. For years, she struggled to process the loss. That grief eventually found its way into one of Haim's most beautiful and poignant songs, Hallelujah. While the song speaks to a variety of experiences of loss and sisterhood, Alana has confirmed that the first verse was written specifically about Sammi. She sings, I met you on a Monday, and you were gone by Tuesday night. It's a stark, heartbreakingly simple lyric that captures the sudden, shocking nature of her death. She goes on to sing about their shared memories and the enduring nature of their bond. The song became a global hit, and with it, millions of people around the world heard an echo of Sammy's story, a tribute to a friendship that death could not erase. So what is the historical significance of Sammi Kane Kraft? She won't be remembered as a long-reigning Hollywood star or a music icon. Her time in the spotlight was brief. Her significance lies in something deeper, something more human. Her story is a powerful modern parable about the fragility of life and the enduring power of love and legacy. She represents the lightning in a bottle moment of unexpected discovery, the raw, natural talent that can shine brighter than any polished performance. Her role in The Bad News Bears is a permanent record of a unique talent at a specific moment in time. A girl who was so authentic, she blurred the line between character and reality. But her greater significance is what happened after the camera stopped rolling. Her story is a poignant cautionary tale about the devastating consequences of impaired driving. It's a stark reminder that the statistics we hear on the news represent real people, real families, and real futures that have been stolen. And most importantly, her story has become a beacon for the cause of organ donation. The documentary, Help Her Live, and the public story of her heart donation have undoubtedly inspired others to make that same life-saving choice. She showed the world that even in the face of the ultimate loss, it is possible to create a legacy of life. In the end, how do we remember Sammi Kane Kraft? It's easy to define her by the tragedy of her death, to see her only as a story of what could have been. And the loss of that potential is indeed immense. The world was deprived of the music she had yet to write, the films she might have made, the life she had yet to live. But to focus only on the ending is to do a disservice to the vibrant life she lived. We should remember her as the force of nature on the baseball diamond, a girl who shattered expectations and competed with a joy and ferocity that was inspiring. We should remember her as the soulful artist, pouring her heart into her music and collaborating with the brother she adored. We should remember her as the loyal friend whose warmth and light inspired a song that would touch millions. And we must remember her as the silent hero whose final act of generosity gave the gift of life to a stranger, creating a bond that proves love is stronger than death. Sammi Kane Kraft's story is a heartbreaking symphony, a life of incredible promise cut short in its opening movements. But it is not a story that ends in silence. It ends with the steady, rhythmic beat of a heart, her heart. A beat that continues to echo in the world, a testament to a girl who, in just 20 short years, left a mark that will never truly fade away. That's a wrap for today's video. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button, drop us a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss our new content. Thanks for watching,